Oh, it has been a minute, eh? Yo, that's for sure. 9 on the bounce. Massa is furious. New contracts. Are Aston Martin back? And it's La Pista Magica this weekend. Let's go racing.
They exist in a world beyond ours. This is Formula One.
It's a very good evening and welcome as always from our beautiful bespoke Suzuki studio in the Menlyn Shopping Centre. I've missed you. I hope you've missed me just as much. Listen, sorry we weren't here for Zandvoort last weekend, but my word, what a race. What a race. Great to have your company this evening, and this weekend it is my favorite Grand Prix. I've been very fortunate enough to go there 9 times. It is Monza. But back to last weekend. Zandvoort. Wow. What a race. Wet, dry, dry, wet, torrential rain. It was brilliant and the racing was exceptional. Some teams made great pit stop calls. Some drivers made pit stop calls, though their teams weren't ready. And some teams, well, just made poor pit stop calls. But under all of that kind of pressure, wow, you've got to say, well done to most of them. Everything going on, it was still all about one man, Max Verstappen. Wow, what a driver he is. An incredible performance yet again from the Dutchman. And some will say he was a little bit lucky in certain aspects, but I'll get to that a little bit later. You know, when you watch a Grand Prix, I always watch to see what the guys are doing relative to each other on the tyre, the relative duration they've been on that tyre, and you try and see if anybody is as quick as Max Verstappen or if somebody's actually going faster, and you know, what are the differentials between some of the drivers and some of the teams. Now, towards the end of the race, when they all came out after the red flag, George Russell was pretty quick, and then of course he had a little tangle and went into the pits, and thereafter he was going as fast as Max Verstappen, although he did have slightly newer intermediate tyres. Besides that, there wasn't really anybody else that was in the same ballpark or even in the same zone as Max Verstappen. Of course, Max Verstappen equaled Sebastian Vettel's 9 victories in a row this weekend. Sebastian Vettel apparently had messaged Max Verstappen and said to him, hey, listen, you can do it, go for it. Isn't it quite amazing that both of these drivers have achieved this feat at the same team? And that, of course, is Red Bull Racing. Is there added pressure now on Max Verstappen? He says he did feel quite a lot of pressure going in to try and achieve this incredible milestone. But I think also the pressure of his home fans, you know, he doesn't want to disappoint them as well. Will Monza now, you know, be more relaxed for him, or will he want to now break a record? Most drivers are not really that interested in records until they get brought up to them. They're actually just interested in winning. You know, I think it'll take a very difficult or a very courageous person to bet against Max Verstappen this weekend. But stranger things have happened. And then, at last weekend's Grand Prix, we get onto the genius of Fernando Alonso. This guy is so special, always has been from the day he stepped foot in a Minardi. He just has got something that many other drivers don't have. The overtake at turn 3 on the inside in those wet conditions was just pure genius. He even said that he thought about it at the restart of maybe trying to go there, and he thought, well, you know what, if I do that, I might not be able to leave the stadium if it goes wrong. Yeah, discretion, the better part of valor. Are Aston Martin back on track for Fernando Alonso to perhaps eclipse Sergio Perez in the championship? Not entirely sure. However, Aston Martin say they are keeping on developing the 2023 car. That comes from Mike Crack. Okay. He says that he hopes that Aston Martin has put its season back on track. Amazingly, at one stage he said, no, they're not going to develop. However, their development engineers come out and said, no, we are definitely carrying on with our development. Wow, and what a race from a previous Monza winner, Pierre Gasly. He had a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pits, but eventually ended up on the podium in third place. Albeit, Perez also got a 5-second penalty. Lots of frustration at that Alpine team. Lots of changes that have been happening over the past couple of months. Also, Alpine having a war of words with Ferrari and with Mercedes about their engine deficit that they believe that they have. Well, in those kind of conditions, no deficit for Pierre Gasly. Superb race from that young man. And he'll be bouncing and buoyed going to Monza this weekend. Of course, he has won there. Coming up, lots and lots of news. Okay, welcome back. I was just looking around in the showroom because there's the new Suzuki. I forget the name. Is it called a Fonzie or Forzi or something? I think it's a Forzi that has just been released. They had one and it sold out already. So I'm sure it'll be here soon. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Very, very nice car. Apparently replacing the Brezza. Okay, welcome back. As if Lance Stroll hasn't got the world on his shoulders. His father may own the team. There may be some good backing. I think his father will be leaving and selling out the team during next year. That's just my thinking. But he's also going to be one session short this weekend in Monza. And believe me, he does need it. Replacing him is going to be the very talented Felipe Drogovic. He's going to be driving. He's the Formula 2 champion. Highly talented young Brazilian driver. So I think it's going to be great to see him in that car this coming weekend. And hopefully we do see a lot of running of the cars in free practice. And I know I'm grinning in a grimacing kind of way, but I'll explain that when we get to the tyres a little bit later. Remember the Hungarian Grand Prix, another superb victory for Max Verstappen, and there was that kerfuffle on the podium where Lando Norris smashed his bottle of Prosecco, and whoops, the trophy fell off and it broke. Well, we have some good news for you, and that is the trophy has been repaired. And there it is. Lando handed it back to Max Verstappen, and they made sure that they didn't do anything crazy. However, there has been some very interesting chat about a possibility of Lando Norris teaming up with Max Verstappen. Lando, as we know, is a very jovial and fun guy. And he actually suggested to Max, he said, hey, listen, if you're getting bored of winning all of the time, why don't you come over to McLaren and join me? I'm sure that got Oscar Piastri's nose up a little bit. But who knows, you know, what is going to happen with Sergio Perez? We don't know at this stage. But I think a team-up of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, that would be amazing. One of my drivers of the day, without a doubt this weekend, was the amazing job Liam Lawson did at Zandvoort. If you think about it, Daniel Ricciardo fractured his hand in free practice 2 in the afternoon. Okay, Liam Lawson had to get into the car, free practice 3, in clement and crazy weather. Qualifying was just crazy weather as well. Managed to qualify the car, which was fantastic, and wasn't that far off anybody, let's be honest. And then managed to do the full Zandvoort Grand Prix, 7 pit stops that he managed to do, and finished very, very comfortably ahead of one or two, experienced drivers. I think Liam Lawson did an outstanding job last weekend at Zandvoort. And for him, the good news, he will replace and continue to replace Daniel Ricciardo at the AlphaTauri team until Daniel Ricciardo's hand is fixed. He broke 2 fingers in his hand, and he had surgery, and it has to be fixed. So well done to Liam Lawson. But it wasn't such a great weekend yet again for Logan Sargent of the Williams team. Now, this is where one has to feel incredibly sympathetic for Logan Sargent. However, the rest of the world will just sit there and say, what is he doing in the team? Look what Alex Albon is doing, and he had another crash. Unfortunately for Logan Sargent, he was taking the same line through one of the corners all of the time, and everything was fine. All of a sudden, he took that same corner on the same line, and he had a hydraulic issue in the car, and that's why he lost the rear end, and that's why he crashed. You've got to feel for the guy, but you also got to believe that his days are numbered. He's just not performing to the likes of what I think Williams are offering to their drivers. I know it's not the best car, but look what Alex Albon is doing. And if you've got a teammate as competent, as good as Alex Albon, they should actually be doing the same thing. So Logan Sargent, I think, yeah, it's tough time. Now, this story is not going away. Felipe Massa. All right. He's got a legal team at the moment that is threatening to, in the UK, to go to the High Court because of delays over from the FIA and also from Formula One management. Now let's cast our memories back a long time ago to the year of 2008, the Singapore Grand Prix. Spectacular place, just magic. Felipe Massa is leading the race, and he's leading it comfortably. He's in the championship fight with Lewis Hamilton. All of a sudden, Nelson Piquet Jr. crashes at a place where most cars don't crash. Okay, it was peculiar from the start. Because of that, safety car comes, gets shouted out. Fernando Alonso gets into the pits first and comes out and leads the race. Felipe Massa has a bungle up in the pits, ends up out of the points. Thereafterwards, of course, most of us know what happened. Pat Simmons, Flavio Briatore got hauled over the knuckles and basically got expelled from the world of Formula One for, one can only say, cheating, because they had decided that they were going to manipulate the race. Now the big question is, Felipe lost the championship on the last race, basically the last corner of the Brazilian Grand Prix, to Lewis Hamilton by 1 point. The big question is this a conspiracy? And does he honestly have a leg to stand on? The FIA and Formula One are very, very concrete in their decisions after a Formula One championship, and that is that the decisions and the results cannot be manipulated and cannot be changed. So why is Felipe Massa going after this? Clearly they believe they have some evidence that they believe could justify this court action. And will a legal court, I assume in the UK, have the power to influence the FIA and Formula One in changing that decision? I don't know. And bygones be bygones. It's tough. It's very, very tough. We saw it in 2021 with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Decisions were made, and that's where it went. So I don't know what Felipe Massa is up to. Anyway, to calm us down, here is the beautiful Eva Green. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Eva. Coming up, it's Monza time. Oh man, isn't that just a beautiful video? My brilliant producer, director, go-to man, Fritz, actually just put that together about 20 minutes ago before we started the show. Fantastic, Fritz. Buy a donkey. Buy a donkey. All right, Italy this weekend. Couple of messages, statements that have come through as well on the Facebook. Monza always provides and delivers no matter which camp you're in. Nice one, thank you, Selwyn. Christopher says Hamilton and Verstappen was a steward's decision. Fair enough, very, very good point. Stewards, I wouldn't say that stewards would ever be inclined to cheat. This was a team cheating, okay? And Colin says, some would say the same thing happened to Hamilton and Verstappen. It should not have legs. Colin, I back you on that as well. I don't think Massa's got any chance with this. I don't know what he's actually trying to achieve. He's a very likable man. I think he's over all of that. But clearly somebody wants some of his well-earned money over all of the years into their lawyers' pockets. That's what maybe I can see. Anyway, it's Monza time. Just announced a few hours ago, Mercedes have decided to extend the contracts for both of their drivers, and both of their drivers will be at the team until a minimum of the end of the 2025 season. Critical just before the start of the 2026 season, which has all of these new regulation changes coming in. So I don't think Mercedes or any of the teams want to back too much further than 2025. But I think it's great news, long time coming to hear the news about Lewis Hamilton, but I don't think it was ever in doubt. And great for George Russell. He's doing a superb job there as well. Hey, guess who's back in the paddock? Recognize? Yeah. Mattia Binotto. Now, I don't know why, but there seems to be a lot of people who dislike Mattia Binotto. I have always thought he was a very, very competent engineer. Maybe he shouldn't have had the role of team principal within Ferrari, but I still think it's a big loss that Ferrari actually kicked him out. That's just my personal opinion. Why is he there? Seems as though he was fraternizing with the McLaren garage at the time, but there are talks that he could be linked to various teams, including Alpine, who at the moment don't have really anybody running their organization. This weekend there are going to be some, well, just here, by the way, Mattia Binotto, it looks like he might be shaking hands with Frédéric Vasseur, but that actually isn't Frédéric Vasseur, though from the back they do look quite similar. There are going to be some spectacular livery changes at Monza this weekend, unsurprisingly from the Italian teams except for AlphaTauri. But here is the rear end of the Alfa Romeo with its tribute to the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale, which was launched yesterday. And I must say, quite spectacular. Look at those shirts. Man, aren't they pretty? Beautiful. I really, really like those shirts. Both Bottas and Zhou have new shirts. Super cool. And here is the livery for the Alfa Romeo car that we will see on track this weekend. I do hope it goes as fast as it looks. But for Alfa Romeo, haven't had the best of seasons, but maybe their fortunes turn around. Of course, this is Ferrari land. And even though Carlos Sainz got a 5th position last weekend in Zandvoort, Ferrari do not look competitive. That's just what we have to say. Now, Frédéric Vasseur admits struggling Formula One team needs restructuring. Then what has he been doing? I'm not sure. A lot of people have left the team. A lot of people are coming in. So what has he been doing? And this is what confuses me. He says they need restructuring, but they are fully working on the 2024 car from now on. They've got very, very few updates that are coming for this 2023 car, but they're working fully committed on the 2024 car. With whom? If you're restructuring, then who's actually doing what? I'm confused. Maybe you've got an answer for me. Yeah. Howard says, that Alfa Romeo livery. Yeah, it looks good. Let's just hope it goes fast. Now, Ferrari also have new livery on the car and on the overalls. Have a look at Charles and Carlos. That looks pretty spectacular. I've had some people saying they're going to be working at McDonald's, but that's just haters, whatever. The reason for this livery is because, and I'm going to show you now the hypercar, because this weekend is a tribute from Ferrari to the magnificent Ferrari hypercar that won at Le Mans earlier this year. First time that they've won in the Premier category, I think, for 58 years. So that is what the Ferrari car is going to look like. And also, that is what the drivers are going to look like as well in their overalls. And last time, Charles Leclerc was in an overall that wasn't just a normal Ferrari overall, was 2019. Remember what happened then? Yeah. Okay. It is Italy. Yes, there we go. It is Italy. Those are the colors of the Italian flag. Nice picture you found there, Fritz. Very, very nice. Now, hold on a second. Before we get into all of the details that we need for this weekend, including very important details about the tires, do you know what is the biggest sport besides for Formula One drivers outside of what they do? It is, in fact, paddle. Yes, paddle. There's Alex Albon playing with Lando Norris. They teamed up and played against Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. And Charles Leclerc is a big fan of paddle as well. And speaking of paddle, LGR, the Let's Go Racing team, will be part of a live stream this coming weekend, and will be live streaming paddle. Yes, I know, it is going to be quite interesting. The great news is it's coming up after qualifying on Saturday afternoon, all right? And it's all part of the Africa Paddle, together with Baldwin Sport Spring Festival, which is taking place at the Discovery Paddle Park in Sandton, and it's going to be just magnificent. You know what, let's do something a little bit different. I think it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun. Yeah, and I tell you, the action is going to be hot, but the action is going to be very, very hot this weekend at MONZA. I'm not just talking about the driving, I'm talking about the weather. We had crazy conditions in Zandvoort. Most of Europe has had an incredibly warm and hot summer. And this Sunday at MONZA, there might be a little bit of cloud around. There's definitely going to be 0 chance of rain. But it is going to be hot, 30 degrees. That means track temperature is going to be in the high 50s. It's going to be about tires. And, you know, as I always say, if somebody can get ahead of Max and see what that Red Bull can actually do if it's following someone for a few laps, I think it'll be quite interesting. Pirelli, of course, will be bringing their fastest compounds in each of their categories, the C3, the C4, and the C5. However, this weekend we also have the ATA, which is the Alternative Tire Allocation. It's only happening at 2 Grand Prix. This is the second Grand Prix. Are you in favor? Are you not in favor? What it means is all of the teams lose 2 sets of tires. And because of this, maybe you don't see as much running in the free practice sessions as you would normally, because all of a sudden each driver's lost 2 sets of tires. I hope this is not the case, and I think because of these hot weathers, they're going to have to go out there and find out how these tires are going to last in the very, very hot conditions. It also means the qualifying format is slightly different, meaning all of the teams, all of the drivers in Q1 have to use the hard tire. In Q2, have to use the medium tire, and in Q3, have to use the soft tire. So you're going to find them saving a lot of soft tires for that Q3, just in case you make a mistake. MONZA is incredibly fast. One little mistake can cost you that 1/10 of a second that your opponent definitely isn't going to lose out on. And MONZA, of course, is steeped in history. Just by the way, the shirt that I'm wearing, if you look up very closely, it says 1922, which is not the year of my birth, but it actually is the MONZA official shirt, and that when the MONZA circuit actually opened. So let's have a look at this magnificent circuit. There we go. Hair raising coming out of the Parabolica, DRS down into that very tight chicane at turn 1 and 2, and then driving through the Lesmos into Ascari. It is just a magnificent, magnificent circuit. Yeah, it's just really, really special. The action, of course, all begins tomorrow, and this is when you can tune in on your TV, starting at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock for second free practice, 12:30 on Saturday for second practice, and then from 4 through until 5, that is the qualifying. The race will start at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and then, of course, after the qualifying, you can watch the live paddle stream as well. I think it's going to be tremendous fun. Enjoy MONZA. It is always something incredibly special. The fans are incredibly knowledgeable. They're incredibly passionate as well. So, yeah, I think we're in for a fabulous weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all of the comments as well. I'll go through them a little bit later as well. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the Grand Prix this weekend. Let's go racing.